Yeah, this would be a really good time for that GTA meme, wouldn't it?
Oh shit. Here we go again.
So for the past 9 months, we've done a bit of like an on and off series, kind of discussing the 9-month cruise, which was this wild cruise that lasted a really long time. Well, that cruise doesn't seem to last that long compared to this one. Because today, we're not talking about a 9-month cruise. We are talking about a 3.5-year cruise. A 3.5-year cruise that was actually supposed to start 4 months ago, and so far they've currently travelled nowhere. But just like the 9-month cruise, I'm sure you'll be very pleased to hear, because I wouldn't be making a video otherwise, this cruise is also full of controversy and it hasn't even set off yet. Right, now let me explain what's going on here. So this cruise has actually been put on by a company called Vie Residences, and it's actually a little bit different to what we would know from the 9-month cruise. Now before we get into the differences, you can see through the website like what this cruise entails in this like 3.5 years. So it's 147 countries, 425 destinations, it's all inclusive, and you will visit 100 tropical islands. And the reason why it's so different to the 9-month cruise is because instead of just paying for your ticket for the time that you're going on the cruise, you actually buy a cruise room. So even though this cruise specifically that is about to happen is for 3.5 years, you actually own the room with a guarantee of a minimum of 15 years of journey. So 4 circumnavigations. I've said that right, haven't I? I don't even know. And with that, you get a bunch of stuff on the ship, right? So obviously, you own your own personal room that you can decorate however you want, but also there's a bunch of stuff on the ship, like creative hubs for arts and crafts, complimentary wine and beer with meals, you've got 2 weekly professional housekeeping services, just a bunch of stuff, right? Now, with something like this, you can probably imagine, it's not exactly cheap. In fact, currently, the cheapest option is $120,000 and the most expensive option is $349,000. And that is just the options that are currently available. In fact, the most expensive option before was $900,000 basically, $899,000. So yeah, a little pricey. And also looking at the website, it looks like you then have monthly fees on top of it. I'm assuming it's on top of the normal price. So for the smallest option, if there's 2 people, it's $1,750 a month each. But if you have the room to yourself, it's $2,500 a month. And then for the most expensive option that's currently available, it's $4,500 a month for 2 people, which would be each. Or if you're a solo traveler, it's $8,000 a month. So yeah, if this is added on to the normal fee, which I assume it is, that would be about $800,000 for that room, which is fucking mental. Obviously, I'm not the target market for this. I assume if there is some like billionaires out there or just like very high-end millionaires, maybe this seems like a good deal to them. Now, even though it is ridiculously expensive, you can see in the articles that started coming out about this cruise when it was first announced, is that it was kind of advertised as being cheaper than buying a home. And the specific comparison they made is because a studio flat in London is around £315,000. They literally picked the most expensive place in the UK to have their comparison. Like, it's not exactly fair, is it? You have £315,000, which I assume is like close to $400,000. That, in my area, would get you a very, very, very nice house. But yeah, I guess the marketing of this is that it's kind of like having a home that moves, except you kind of have to move wherever the cruise does. You don't really have much of a choice in it, but you do get to buy a room on the cruise and that could be your home. So even at a time when there's no traveling going on, you know, after this 3.5 years while they're planning the next cruise, you could still be living on that home. But this is where effing started going wrong, as we can see by this headline right here that says cruise passengers who spent up to £680,000 on a 3-year trip stranded in Belfast for 3 months. And the article goes on to say that the ship was scheduled to depart from Northern Ireland capital for the first leg of the 3.5-year cruise on 30th of May. Spoiler alert, it still hasn't moved to this day. It goes on to say the ship itself was built in 1993, which, I mean, that does seem kind of old for a ship, but then I'm looking at it maybe from a perspective of cars. Maybe that's normal with cruise ships. But they do go on to give a reason as to why it hasn't set off yet, and it's because there's repair work required to the rudders and gearbox that prevented the ocean liner from leaving the cruise terminal. So basically, the ship is broken, which is exactly what you want to hear just before your journey's about to start. Oh, sorry, I should rephrase that. It was before the journey's supposed to start. It's now 4 months into the journey. And to be fair, first, the cruise line actually seemed to be very accommodating to people because some people sold their houses, which we will get into a bit later, but even if they didn't, tons of people travelled to Belfast with all their belongings getting ready to move onto the ship, so they needed to move onto the ship. So what the cruise line decided to do is allow passengers to go onto the cruise during the day, not sleep there, but they would pay for accommodation for these people, so put them into hotels. Because I suppose at first this was supposed to be a really quick fix. They were like, you know what, we'll get it up and running soon, hotels for like a couple of weeks, and then you can go on your magical cruise. Obviously that hasn't happened because it's now been a few months, and now because of this it has spiraled spiraled into a bunch of controversy. Now, I do need to give credit to Living My Beth Life on TikTok, who's been covering the situation. That's how I became aware of it. And Beth's videos actually made me aware of this YouTube channel called Midlife Cruising, who have bought tickets, bought a cabin on the cruise, and they've been kind of documenting their experience throughout this. Now, this couple's actually from America, so they have literally traveled to the other side of the world to go on this cruise. They've been met by these delays, so they went into Europe for the time being, and they've actually had to return to the ship about 4 times now because they've been told that the cruise is ready to go, and then once they've got there, they've been told, oh, actually, sorry, it's not ready to go.
Now, keep in mind, we've left and returned 4 times already. 4 times. And we never once did that because somebody said, oh, but you didn't, why'd you go back to Belfast? They didn't say they were ready. Yes, they did. And we've only come back on their word.
I mean, that is awful. I can't imagine how stressful this must be. It already kind of puts you in a mindset of this experience is going to be bad even before you actually get on the ship. Because not only have they been met with these severe delays, right? 4 months, it's a very long time to be delayed, but they're also being messed about of locations like, oh, come back, you know, get on a plane, come back. Oh, wait, it's not ready. Go back to where you were. Oh, come back, it's ready now. Oh, wait, no, it's not. So on, so on. And to make matters even worse, because this delay has been going on for so long and it's costing this cruise line so much money to accommodate these people, they've now decided that they're no longer going to do that.
Basically, they've hemorrhaged $500,000 over the last few months, covering our hotels and, you know, letting us on board during the day and feeding us. And it's just, I think, crushing them financially. So they've extended a request to ask us to start covering ourselves for at least the next 7 days.
To which Midlife Cruising says 7 days in Belfast is so expensive that it's actually cheaper for them to go back to America, so that's what they're going to do.
7 days is a lot in Belfast. Prices are a minimum of $200 here a night, and that's with a discount if we use Marriott, that where our daughter works. You know, it's like, it's too much for us.
And then they also go on to say that they're hoping within the next week they'll hear some updates, and if they get told that need a return, they make a joke saying that they want it in writing.
We are heading to Dublin today, and we fly out back to the States. It is what it is. Yes, we're still hopeful that this will set sail. Hopefully we get news in the next week. Come back, we're ready to set sail. But this time, I'm going to see, can I see that in writing?
Yeah, I mean, I know she's joking, but honestly, not a bad idea. Now, that video we just watched actually was uploaded a week ago as I'm recording this video, and just yesterday, Midlife Cruises have uploaded a new video giving some more updates, in which they say that they have heard some updates, and they're going to be doing like a test sea trial today as I'm recording this video, and then on Friday or Saturday, they're going to be doing like an official sea trial to make sure that it's ready to go.
So the latest on the Villa Vie, they're going to do a test run sea trial on Wednesday, so that would be tomorrow, because this video will probably drop on Tuesday. And then they have a official sea trial again on Saturday. We have to make sure everything is up to par. It is really all about safety in the end, and they have to check all those engines again. So, you know, it comes down to safety, and I respect that that's what they're doing. Yes, it's hard. I see all your comments. I say it all the time. It is what it is. And safety first, safety first, safety first. If something is, you know, needs to be replaced or fixed or overhauled, they're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're clearly being very positive about this situation, so fair play to them, because I don't know if I would be that positive. I would probably sack it off by now and ask for a refund, but fair play, they're remaining positive, and hopefully it does set sail soon, and they have a great time. Now, one passenger who won't be having a great time on the cruise, and in fact won't be going on the cruise at all, is actually Jenny Phoenix, who is from Florida, and as you can see by this headline, it says, divorcee who sold everything for 3-year dream world cruise kicked off ship after private WhatsApp messages leak. And we actually have some quotes from Jenny here saying, during the past year and a half, I have liquidated businesses and possessions, eagerly awaiting my new life cruising the world. However, following Miss Phoenix's messages, she was contacted weeks before the ship was due to sail over comments that had significantly impacted the morale of fellow passengers. And then we have another quote from Jenny that says, the frustration among the residents grew after every delay. And basically Jenny is saying that these messages that got her kicked off the ship was just her complaining about it being delayed. And in fact, the messages were just in a private chat among like other passengers that she had met. It wasn't like she was posting on social media like complain about the delay. Although I will say, in some articles it gives a bit of a different story, saying that she was like planning to go online and like talk about it. But either way, I feel like you should be allowed to talk about it if you, like, you've went through this experience after paying so much money. But the way the cruise liners address this is that they're saying that these messages has like affected the other passengers, and that's why she's being kicked off. It's not because it's affecting the cruise line with her complaining, it's because it's affecting other passengers. Maybe people did complain. And here we actually get to see the specific reason why Jenny was so upset, because it says the response is said to have stunned Miss Phoenix, who was planning to use the boat stop off in Miami to collect the rest of her possessions. This obviously because she sold a bunch of stuff, maybe a home as well. And then it says, however, in another blow months after booking, it was revealed the ship would no longer be docking at the Miami port, a popular stop among cruise goers. So she was unable to collect her belongings from Miami because they were no longer going to go there. Jenny then goes on further to say, I was never rude or disrespectful, and I never participated in personal attacks. These were private conversations. I posted nothing on social media. And then towards the end of the article, we get a statement from Mike Peterson, the chief executive of Vie Residences. And he has said, Miss Phoenix broke multiple terms and conditions and signed a non-disclosure agreement. The founding residents voted and agreed to uphold her suspension, and we plan on respecting that decision. We have nothing else to comment on the ongoing dispute. Okay, a few things. This was agreed upon by passengers of the founding residences, which I don't really know what that means. Like, what, the first few? I don't really get that. But also, they mentioned that they had to sign an NDA, which, is that normal for a cruise? I feel like that seems a bit bizarre. And then in a big twist in the story that kind of makes us all go full circle, the article goes on to say, the mother was forced to join the tail leg of another world cruise, the Royal Caribbean's 9-month voyage on Serenade of the Seas, in a bid to return home to Florida. So yeah, it seems like it's not exactly a good year for cruises. I would love to know your opinions in the comment section down below. I highly doubt we will be covering the 3.5-year cruise for the entirety. Maybe it'll pop up again if something else happens, but hopefully for the passengers' sake, it all goes smoothly, they get the cruise going, and they can all go and enjoy their new homes. Literally their new homes, not even just tickets. They've bought these cabins. But yeah, if you did enjoy the video, please do leave a like on it, subscribe if you are new, and until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.